Steamy Saturday night's roaring engines and last lap heartbreak. Well, the dirt was flying and fortunes flipped in the blink of an eye. We kick things off with a wild night at Orrville, where a sure winner saw victory vanish with just 2 laps to go. And that's just the start of it. So hold on to your helmets, because this is Switching Grooves. Welcome, everyone. What's up, Nathan?
Oh, not much, Russ. How are you? Sorry, my mic was not working.
I was going to say, it isn't on my end, but man, I got quite a bit to talk about here. So I guess
I got nothing new for NASCAR wise. Just another road course. Just another same repeat winner. Nothing new.
So I
Just
guess we'll
pure
get started.
NASCAR again. Just the
But man,
NASCAR shenanigans.
the typical.
Unfortunately.
So, well, I guess I'll start off with my end of things.
All right, let's hear it.
All right. Well, it's quite a bit, but
let's get dirty.
The Ohio dirt tracking heat wave. So, fast action was indeed as hot as the weather Saturday night, and as honest as the Honest Abe Roofing Fast on Dirt series finally made its 2025 debut at Orrville's historic oval after being rained out earlier in the season. So the 30-lap main event saw pole sitter Danny Mumaw grab the opening lap lead, and on turn 2 came out roaring and Tyler Gunn powered past for the top spot as the outside front row starter. Jordan Ryan actually settled into third. A fierce battle for fourth actually raged between Tyler Street, Ricky Peterson, and Trey Jacobs, who brought out the yellow flag on lap 8 with a spin and damage to his number 3J machine, ending his night. Tyler Gunn, using the high line around the 3/8 mile track, held the lead while Mumaw stayed glued to the low groove until Mumaw brought out the next caution with a flat tire. That moved Sterling Kling in a second, and he immediately began hounding Gunn for the lead. Well, as they crossed the flag stand and start-finish line, to start lap 20, they actually banged together hard, but both actually charged on, luckily. Side by side for the point. Jordan Ryan would actually slip past Kling with just 4 laps remaining as Tyler Gunn had built a seemingly comfortable lead, but with 2 laps to go, disaster struck for Tyler. A flat tire actually ended his shot at victory. Jordan Ryan inherited the lead, and the Bellevue driver piloted his Joyride Transport Burns Electric and Megan Sandblasting and Painting number 25 to hold off one last furious charge by Sterling Kling, recording his first win of the season at WCS. A race-long battle between Tyler Street, Henry Malcutt, and Ricky Peterson saw them finish in that order to round out the top 5. Over at Fremont, Cap Henry, who started 6th in the 30-lap Fort Ball Pizza Palace 410 Sprint A-Main, took the lead from Zeth Sabo on lap 9 and drove off to his 24th career win at the Traction Action Built, marking his 7th overall victory of 2025. Sabo, Chris Andrews, Bryce Lucius, and Joel Myers round out the top 5, and that was actually in front of a standing room only crowd because this was actually considered pack the stands night at Fremont Speedway. So this win also actually pads Henry's lead as he looks to claim a second straight All-Pro Aluminum Cylinder Heads Kistler Racing Products Attica Fremont Championship Series title Henry actually finished second on Friday in the AFCS event at Attica Raceway Park, getting past on the last corner of the last lap while leading. And speaking of Attica, well, Friday night belonged to young gun Bryce Lucius, just 18 years old. He actually looked like a seasoned veteran in a sprint car. And lo and behold, it just so happened to be on July 4th. So couldn't ask for a better day. Lucius is actually only in his third year racing a 410 sprint car, and he waited until the last absolute moment, diamonding off of the exit of turn 4, coming to the checkers to drive under Cap Henry and snatch the victory by a mere 0.037 seconds. So, wow, it was actually a really exciting finish, and it was cool to watch. Starting 8th in the 30 lap, 4,500 to win Cali's Performance Products 410 sprint feature. Lucius moved up to 5th on the opening lap as Trey Jacobs led over Cap Henry, Cole Duncan, and Jordan Ryan. Henry actually took command on lap 5, eyeing his 5th Attica win of the year. Lucius, the 2023 National 410 Rookie of the Year, actually moved into 2nd with 10 laps to go. He used lap traffic masterfully, actually, as he closed right onto Henry's tail with 5 laps remaining, setting up that dramatic last corner pass for his 3rd career win at Attica. So Henry, Jacobs, Duncan, and Zasebo actually rounded out the top 5. And what can I say? All I can say is what a move. I mean, great job to Bryce Lucius. Moving over to High Limit. High Limit and the World of Outlaws both were actually off this weekend in preparation for Kings Royal weekend in Eldora. So, but big news for fans of High Limit and the sport of sprint car racing, with the massive Kings Royal weekend at Eldora just over a week away, featuring both the Kubota High Limit sprint cars and the Joker's Jackpot High Limit Flow Racing and Fox. High Limit Flow Racing and Fox Sports dropped a major announcement on July 1st. And anybody guess what that announcement is? You should know already. They will actually
pick me.
They will actually air a special 2-hour segment of racing live on Fox Sports 1 that Thursday night. This will also be co-broadcast on Flow Racing. So if you're a Flow Racing subscriber, you won't miss anything. They're simply adding the extra layer where the Flow broadcast feed will also be shown simultaneously on FS1. This marks the very first time High Limit Racing will be seen on live television. Calling the action from the booth will be High Limit's Chase Rodman and Tony Laporta, also joined by former All-Star Circuit of Champions announcer Blake Anderson. So this is going to be exciting. Broadcasting live dirt racing on TV is always tricky with tight time windows, and High Limit will be live on FS1 from 7 to 9 p.m. Eastern Time, and that will only be the mains. There will be no preliminary action broadcast on Fox Sports 1. So only the mains. Reading the release, it actually says this. The plan is actually to showcase the C main, the B main, and the A main, or the feature, within that 2-hour time span. So our guess, they might try to start things a touch early to ensure everything actually wraps up before that 9 p.m. hard stop. So I'm sure there will be added pressure on High Limit and Eldora officials to keep the program moving swiftly. And there's likely some flexibility if things run slightly long, but nobody wants to be in a position where they have to cut away before the main event even finishes. So these 2 High Limit days at Eldora actually seem to be using a different format than last year. In 2024, Thursday's heat races were set by Wednesday's results, followed by just a single C and a single B before the A. However, Chase Rodman actually confirmed on his YouTube channel, The Rodman Rundown, that Wednesday will once again feature dual programs, so that part remains unchanged. This is a fantastic opportunity to expose sprint car racing to a potentially new audience. If it's successful, we could see a few select races per year getting this special TV treatment. Do we expect High Limit to land a full season live TV deal? Absolutely not. Let's remember, Flow Racing is fundamentally a streaming video company, but this move is smart for them. It's a prime chance to showcase the quality of Flow's regular broadcasts and potentially convert some of those FS1 viewers into Flow Racing subscribers. So tune in.
To be fair, that shouldn't be
Moving
that
over
hard.
to no, it shouldn't. But moving over to the Outlaws, well, the summer of money is on, Nathan. The World of Outlaws NOS Energy Drink Sprint Cars are now fully immersed in the summer of money. As temperatures soar, so do the purses for the country's premier sprint car drivers. The major money chase kicked off in spectacular fashion over at Houston Speedway. The BillionAuto.com Houston High Bank Nationals, presented by Menards, actually offered 2 six-figure paydays, including the year's highest, a staggering $250,000 to win finale.
Sounds like a green summer.
And who was the one to cash in on that? Well, it was none other than Buddy Kofoid. So Kofoid actually cashed both of those huge checks, becoming only the third driver in the sport's history to score a pair of six-figure wins in a single week. But that was just the opening act of what promises to be an incredibly lucrative summer stretch. The calendar is loaded with races paying at least $20,000 to win or more, including 2 more six-figure payouts. So wallets are getting stuffed, bank accounts are booming. Life-changing money is truly up for grabs. The summer of money is officially here, so let's break down this lucrative gauntlet. Well, next up, the Ohio Logistics Brad Doty Classic, presented by DAC Vitamins and Minerals, July 15th. $15,000 to win at Attica Raceway Park. I know we said $20,000, but this is the next big payday, and we have to mention this because this is just an iconic race, and it's been going on for decades. So the Brad Doty Classic, $15,000 to win at Attica Raceway Park, right here in Ohio. Brad Doty's dedication to the sport and this event actually shined through this prestigious evening during a huge week of Ohio racing. We can expect a stellar field as the Outlaws battle Ohio's best, including the High Limit guys, because High Limit will be at Fremont Speedway Monday, the night before this race takes place. So David Gravel won last year, and Kyle Larson has actually won 3 of the last 5. Donnie Schatz holds the record with 4. So we'll see if Larson can actually match that. The King's Royal will actually be July 18th through 19th, or 18th and 19th. $25,000 and $200,000 to win. Tony Stewart elevates Earl Balty's legacy once again. The 42nd King's Royal winner actually pockets a record $200,000 and only the 5th sprint car race to ever award at least $200,000. Just making the A mains actually pays $5,000 just to start. That's amazing money just to start. That's like record breaking and mind blowing. We've never seen this kind of money just to start. Over $500,000 in total purse money is actually on the line. Steve Kinzer has 7 wins. Donnie Schatz actually has 6 wins. And that is actually the lead crown count. David Gravel is actually the defending king/champion of the King's Royal. The C&D Rigging Summer Nationals are July 25th to 26th with $12,000 and $20,000 to win at Williams Grove. More than just bragging rights are at stake when the Outlaws are actually clashing in Pennsylvania with the Posse. The Saturday finale actually pays $20,000 to win, and David Gravel is the defending champ. But Anthony Macri and the Posse took the Morgan Cup in May. And Macri just took the Pennsylvania Speed Week. The Ironman 55, August 1st and 2nd, 12,000 and 25,000 to win. I-55 Federated Auto Parts Raceway Park. This is the ultimate test of endurance and deserves its big payday. Conquering 55 laps on that high-banked, lightning-fast one-third mile earns 25,000 to win and the Ironman title. Kyle Larson equaled Craig Delansky's record with his third win last year, charging from 12th position. The NOS Energy Drink Knoxville Nationals, presented by Casey's, August 6th through the 9th. 12,000, 12,000, 4,000, and 195,000 to win. Knoxville Raceway, Knoxville, Iowa. The sports crown jewel. The 64th Nationals winner takes home a record $195,000. Saturday's A-Main purse alone, this is the purse, not winners, but Saturday's A-Main purse alone exceeds $800,000.
That's a lot of green.
Dude, just starting the A-Main at the Knoxville Nationals this year guarantees $15,000.
That's crazy.
With more money per position gained. So just starting, pushing off, taking a green flag for one lap, you get 15 grand. The higher you finish, the more money you make.
That's insane.
Dude, this is awesome for sprint car racing, though, Nathan. This is excellent. This is what these guys have been working hard for. And now they could actually do it. Maybe we could get more people in and get more fans in on this. I mean, this is excellent for our sport, man. I'm excited for this, dude. I know how much you love NASCAR, dude, but I love sprint car racing. And dude, this,
you can see the excitement in your face. So I'm happy for you.
This really makes me happy. This is exciting, and I was so glad when I heard this. And I'm actually
this makes me almost excited as us going to the races later this year.
But back to it. Just starting the A-Main guarantees 15,000 to win, with more money per position actually gained. Kyle Larson has won the last 2 and 3 of the last 4, eyeing a three-peat like Steve Kinzer and Donnie Schatz. So we'll see if he can get that done. That would be awesome too. The LG Everest Houston Shootout, August 30th to 31st, is 15,000 and 25,000 to win over at Houston Speedway. The Outlaws actually returned to Brandon, South Dakota over Labor Day weekend. A 15,000 to win Friday leads into a 25,000 to win, 1750 to start Sunday showdown. Houston's total 2025 Outlaws purse exceeds $1 million. And Buddy Kofoid won the rescheduled 2024 shootout, which became part of the High Bank Nationals week. And just think of that. Over $1 million that they're paying out to just the World of Outlaws sanction in this season. That's incredible. So then we move to the Dennis Roth Classic, September 19th through the 20th. 12,000 and 83,000 to win at Thunderbolt Raceway. A fitting tribute to a legendary car owner, and the winner banks $83,000 for the second year, plus other meaty prizes. Carson Macedo swept the finale last year, and Rico and Justin Cox won previous editions. And the big money doesn't stop when the summer ends. September 22nd might be the calendar end of summer, but the cash actually keeps flowing. Sheldon Haudensschild's Buckeye Brawl, presented by NOS Energy Drink, September 26th. 17,000 to win at Millstream Speedway in Findlay, Ohio. The 17,000 to win prize nods to Sheldon's number 17. So that's going to be exciting too, and hopefully I get to make it to that. The National Open, October 4th, 75,000 to win at Williams Grove, the final leg of the Triple Crown. Outlaws versus Posse for $75,000. The 6th World of Outlaw race this year, paying at least $75,000 to win. Then the Jason Johnson Classic, October 25th, which was rescheduled. $20,000 to win at Arrowhead Speedway in Colcord, Oklahoma, honoring the Raging Cajun. One of the best to ever drive a sprint car. In the World Finals, November 5th through the 8th, 15,000, 15,000, 15,000, 25,000 to win. The dirt track is Charlotte Motor Speedway, or whatever the hell they call it now. The season finale features twin 15,000 preliminaries and a 25,000 to win championship night. And the summer of money stretches right into November. Amazing stuff that's going on in the national tours. Can't believe it. Over to the All-Stars, just something quick. You can't really find much news on Fast and the All-Stars, just some quick little results stuff. But so I just threw this in here. The All-Stars and the PA Speed Week wrap. Quick hits on the All-Star Circuit of Champions. Friday night at State Line Speedway, New York, saw former racer Devin Borden take the win over Matt Farnham, Cale Thomas, Darren Nida, and Caleb Henry. And on Saturday at Latrobe in Pennsylvania, it was Caleb Henry grabbing the victory over Brandon Spithaler, Darren Nida, Cale Thomas, and Devin Borden. So just flip the script there. Pennsylvania Speed Week 2025 actually concluded in dramatic fashion over a rain-plagued start. And after 3 rainouts in the first 5 scheduled shows, the final 5 races ran consecutively and actually produced 5 different winners, bringing the series total to 6 different victors. In the end, Anthony Macri claimed his 3rd consecutive Pennsylvania Speed Week points title. Macri got just a lone win at Port Royal for the week on Wednesday night, and he followed that with 4 more top 5 finishes over the holiday weekend to secure the title over Danny Dietrich, the only 2-time winner of Pennsylvania Speed Week, of Pennsylvania Speed Week 2025. NASCAR star Kyle Larson triumphed Thursday at Hagerstown before Dietrich won the prestigious Mitch Smith Memorial Race on Friday at Williams Grove. After Lance DeWeese claimed the Greg Hodnick Classic checkered flag Saturday at Port Royal, Chase Dietz closed out the series with his first ever Speed Week win on Saturday at Path Valley. So let's break down those final 5 nights. Port Royal, Wednesday. Macri started second, outgunned pole sitter Larson at the drop of the green, and led all 30 laps for the $10,000 win prize. Larson spun while running second on lap 18, but charged back to finish second. Dietz was third ahead of Ryan Smith and Logan Wagner, and rounding out the top 10 were AJ Flick, Lance DeWeese, Danny Dietrich, TJ Stutz, and Justin Whittall. Hagerstown on Thursday, Kyle Larson took his second career Hagerstown win, passing Danny Dietrich on lap 26 out of 30 to claim $1,000 to win prize there. And this was actually his 11th career Speed Week win. Dietrich finished second, Lucas Wolf third, Macri fourth, and Brock Zerfoss fifth. Rounding out the top 10 were Troy Wagerman Jr., Lance DeWeese, Justin Whittall, Cameron Smith, and Freddie Raymer. Williams Grove, Friday, Danny Dietrich won his second race of Speed Week, capturing the $20,000 to win Mitch Smith Memorial, and he took the lead from Brent Marks on lap 20 of 30. And Macri finished second, Marks third, Wagerman fourth, DeWeese fifth, and the rest of the top 10 was Ryan Smith, Ashton Torgerson, Logan Schuchart, Lucas Wolf, and Chase Dietz. Port Royal, the legendary Lance DeWeese actually added another chapter to his storied career, winning the actual $20,000 to win Greg Hodnick Classic. After leading laps 1 through 13, he lost the lead to Macri, but fought back to retake the lead on lap 22. And he held on for his series-leading 32nd career Speed Week win. Macri was second, Ryan Smith third, Whittall fourth, and Dietrich fifth. Path Valley on Sunday, Chase Dietz capped a strong week by earning his first ever PA Speed Week victory worth $10,000 to win in the 35-lap finale. Starting fourth, he watched Ryan Smith lead from the pole until lap 25. Chase Dietz actually seized the lead in heavy lap traffic on lap 26 and never looked back. So Smith finished second, Marks third, Dietrich fourth, and Anthony Macri fifth. And in other news, this is what really got me going, and it'll actually lead right into what happened with NASCAR. But Port Royal actually sends a strong message about safety. Significant news on the disciplinary front at Port Royal Speedway yesterday announced one of the longest driver bans seen in I don't know how long. The incident actually goes back to the limited late model feature on June 28th, where drivers Taylor Farling and Dylan Stake actually started up front, and Stake made a mistake entering turn one, hit the inside wall, slid up the track and made contact with Farling, causing Farling to spin directly into the path of the oncoming traffic. Well, he was hit hard by multiple cars, and understandably, Farling was furious. Well, it was just an accident. But, however, what happened next under caution led to severe consequences. Farling, according to the officials, drove his car backwards around the track twice to target Stake. Dumbass move. He missed the first attempt in turn one, but then hit Stake's stopped car head on in turn four. This was actually followed by a physical altercation on track involving drivers and crew members. Farling was disqualified. Stake was unable to continue due to the damage, and Farling cited prior history, including an incident weeks earlier at Path Valley. In that race, after Farling got sideways following contact, Stake attempted a three-wide pass, and it squeezed Farling into the stretch wall near the flag stand. Under a subsequent caution, Farling retaliated by spinning Stake out under yellow. While the Path Valley incident was deemed an overreaction, Port Royal officials found the June 28th actions far more egregious. I'd say so. So in an announcement yesterday, Port Royal Speedway revealed that Taylor Farling has been banned from competition at the track for the remainder of the 2025 season and the entire 2026 season. Man, that's a full 18 months, Nathan. Furthermore,
I feel like that's warranted.
Furthermore, he will not be permitted to race at Port Royal in 2027 until he pays a fine to the York County Racing Club's Injured Driver Fund and meets with the track's race committee to, quote, unquote, determine if reinstatement is appropriate. The track stated
good for
clearly,
them.
Yeah, good for that. And I agree with that. The track clearly stated, after a thorough review of the events and in accordance with Port Royal Speedway's personal conduct rules, it was determined that Mr. Farling used his race car in an aggressive and dangerous manner, violating the track standards for driver safety and sportsmanship. The incident involved actions deemed by track officials as using a race car as a weapon, an egregious offense that the Speedway takes with the utmost seriousness. Track officials emphasize they are sending a strong public message that these actions are being made public not only to clarify the severity of the situation, but also to reinforce the Speedway's commitment to maintaining a safe environment for all competitors, crew members, and fans as well. Port Royal Speedway wants to encourage all other tracks in the area and around the country to follow the same course of action regarding issues of this matter. The Speedway remains committed to upholding the integrity of the sport and ensuring a safe racing environment for everyone involved. So I agree with everything they're saying. The management is actually unequivocal, and this behavior is unacceptable. And they hope that other tracks will adopt a similarly strict stance. So do I. So now that I've made it through my spiel, I will give you my last little bit. My three key takeaways. Well, Bryce Lucius actually confirmed his elite potential with a last lap victory at Attica, along with his 2 Speed Week victories here in Ohio. Oh, excuse me. I wasn't expecting that. And my second is High Limits FS1 debut represents sprint car racing's biggest TV opportunity in years, possibly decades. And Port Royal suspension sets a new precedent for disciplining on-track retaliation. So I couldn't agree more with Port Royal and what they're doing. Very stand-up of them. And, hey, I'm all for it. Safety is one of my big things in the sport, and I'm actually speaking with a company now about sponsoring the show. So, but we won't say who that is yet, but because nothing's set in stone, it's just an email going back and forth right now. So,
I will say that there is there's another safety issue, and it kind of relates to the Port Royal incident. I don't know if you saw the videos of the Hunt to the Front series at Sonoya.
yeah.
First off, they had a car go through the fence, injured quite a few people, and then I forget what who the drivers were, but there was an altercation coming to the white flag, and it looks eerily similar to the Port Royal incident, except this one didn't chase the guy backwards. He kind of just ran him all the way up around the track and then decided to put him on his hood. So hopefully the same penalty gets passed down there. But, I can't, be the judge of that one.
No,
But I can be the judge of is the safety for NASCAR. I'll tell you right now. Go ahead. Sorry.
From what I understand, that other incident has just been deemed, the disqualification was enough, and that one's closed. They're not going to mess with that anymore. So sorry, but I figured I'd put that
you're
up
good.
there.
You're good. I forgot to read the penalty report. I will say that in regards to safety, NASCAR is doing what they do best: sleeping on the caution button. I can attest for at least 2 incidents where I can deem one of them as reasonable. The other one I'm not so sure I feel is appropriate for the amount of time they left him. We'll start with Josh Berry. I believe it was turn 5 or 6. Got turned around, nosed into the wall. Pretty significant damage. They gave him about a lap and a half to get the car refired. And when they didn't, he dropped the window net. So, I can understand that one. But when it comes to the last lap, and I know there was controversy about the finish of the Chicago Street Race, which we'll deal with that more in detail later. Cody Ware, and I know I'm not the biggest fan of his right now, but I will stand up for the man. He exploded a brake rotor going into, I believe, turn 1. I saw the reports because I forget exactly where it was. Crashed into the tire barrier at about 93 miles an hour. The other angles I've seen from the stands make it look like it's way faster than that, but 93 is still a high rate of speed. NASCAR proceeded to leave him in the tire barrier with his window net down, mind you, for 34.6 seconds, I read.
Wasn't he on fire?
He was on fire at one point. And now, granted, the fire was, noticeable after they pulled him out of the tire barrier, but you can audibly hear Cody Ware on the radio say, quote, "need help." Now, granted, in the video, you see Cody Ware drop the window net, and he's in significant pain. Now, this is from the camera mounted on top of the fence that NASCAR should be watching from Charlotte. And Denny Hamlin, I hate the guy, I'll tell you, he makes a very valid point. You can't not see that. You're watching all these camera views from Charlotte. If you're not going to pay to have people there, you better be paying attention to those monitors to watch and see what's happening where. Now, granted, there was a few incidences where, the TV didn't show this. But it's pretty clear when they showed Cody Ware nosed into the fence that he wasn't getting out. Not one year earlier, Kyle Larson had nosed his way in there. His car was wrinkled up way less, but he was lodged in the tire barrier and couldn't get out. That is the end of a very high braking area, high speed, heavy braking area. What happens if somebody comes into that corner and has the same problem? Cody Ware is now a sitting duck, and he's already hurt. It took them that long to register, oh, Cody Ware is stuck in the tire barrier, and he's hurt, and he can't get out because the car is on fire. Maybe, just maybe, actually pay attention to what's going on track. Because last year at the Orrville, they somehow lost a car in the tire barrier and magically threw the caution at within a half inch of Parker Kligerman winning that race. And in the end, it ended up costing them the win. Now, I can understand there was rain in the area. Here's my thoughts on that. follow your own procedures, NASCAR. SVG was already going to win the race regardless. Because if you throw the yellow, rain's coming. You're past the halfway point. Just give them the flag. Finish under yellow. Driver safety is more important than finishing under green conditions. And they proved that when they threw the white flag and then they, gave SVG the victory. You could have saved valuable seconds by just throwing the yellow flag, and then when the rain did come, you just call the race. Because, yes, it was kind of good timing that, Cody Ware hit the tire barrier because the rain was coming. But why would you try to rush the finish when there is an injured driver on track? Correct me if I'm wrong, but shouldn't driver safety be more important than what the fans have to say about it?
You would
Now,
think
granted,
so.
I am a fan, but then again, these drivers are what makes your sport happen. So what? Are square racings for sale? You're just now going to forget about them? It's very frustrating. I don't stand by some of the actions by the drivers, but this is one time that NASCAR needs to step up because they dropped the ball, and it's very disappointing to think that this is a sport that we all care about, and they made it a point to make driver safety top priority, and then do this stuff. This is the
I don't
opposite
know,
of what they're normally doing. Is they'll drop the ball when the drivers aren't hurt and to affect the finish. But now they're going to affect the finish because when a driver is hurt, you'll let them run an extra half a lap.
It's ridiculous, dude. NASCAR just continues to drop the ball over and over again.
At least their consistency is getting close to perfect. They are consistently not making the best interest of the drivers and throwing cautions at really bad times, whether it's the car's been sitting there for a long time and then they throw the caution, or, immediately throw the caution. At least they're consistent about throwing ill-timed cautions or making poor choices with the cautions.
NASCAR cares about NASCAR, and they don't care about their teams. In my opinion, they don't care about their teams. They don't care about the drivers. They care about themselves, and that's it. Just look at this bullcrap charter agreement that we got this time. I remember when they took it from 5 teams to you're only allowed to have 4. Now they took it down to 3, and NASCAR's allowed to have their own charters. Like, that's a bunch of crap.
Yeah. It's very frustrating because I try to stand up for NASCAR, but this is one of those times where, you done screwed up. There's no other way to put it. You screwed up. You're getting called out on it. Fix your stuff. It's very frustrating. It doesn't help that, everybody's brackets are blown up from last week. They've kind of painted themselves into a corner. You can't make a call because, it'll affect the finish. But you also can't let the race finish under yellow. So, you either finish under yellow and you piss off the fans, or you finish under green and seriously injure a driver. At one point, and I saw this through, I believe it was Breakard, they had to throw a yellow because there was a injured fan in the infield, and an ambulance had to go from the outside of the track to the inside of the track. And because, there's no crossover because they're in a city, they had to throw the yellow flag to get an ambulance across to get the fan out of the track. I can totally understand that. I can see the keyboard warriors out there, tapping on the buttons saying, "Oh, it was a SVG was too far out there. They had to they had to close up the field and make it exciting." I'll stand up with Breakard and Matt. That is a valid reason to throw a yellow. All those people who didn't see it, they can go, pitter patter their keys elsewhere because that's a legitimate caution. Also, should have been the caution for Cody Ware, but the consistency of bad cautions, at least it's there. They can't have a per record of having good cautions.
But either way, they're going to piss someone off. It doesn't really matter. But
yes,
if they would have threw the caution when they were supposed to, they could have still finished the race under a green. It would have been a green-white checkered overtime finish, but still.
Yeah. And I know I'm kind of working in reverse here because obviously SVG ended up winning the race regardless. But I'm going to rewind back just a little bit for the battle for the in-season tournament. I will tell you firsthand that I do not like Bubba Wallace, and I'm not the biggest fan of Alex Bowman. But that might have been the best battle I think we've had all day of just beating the crud out of each other to move on to the next round. And Alex Bowman's interview made it, even more entertaining to me because he was completely unaware that that was just, that Bubba wasn't just trying to, take him out. It was simply, good hard racing. They both talked about in the end. They didn't fight each other. You know, it was a pretty decent finish. Now, granted, it did look like Bubba tried to take him out because Bowman had him 45-degree angle to the wall on a few different straightaways. So it's definitely kind of entertaining for me that that's, what happened. But I mean, Bowman did just jack him up and spin him around. And I mean, that's to move on to the next round. And of course, you got Ty Dillon taking down another giant, which I don't really consider, Brad Kozlowski another giant. But still, these post race interviews with Ty Dillon are getting really funny. And I'm actually kind of enjoying them. I'm kind of rooting for him now. Looks like we're having an issue with Facebook.
Nothing on my end.
I've got a waiting for live video signal. I guess we're having some sort of issue here. But anyway, so, that battle was good. It was a, decently entertaining race. It's kind of sad that supposedly this is the last Chicago race, at least until they move elsewhere. I kind of hope.
Did you see that there's
an possible option, talks of 2026? I did see that.
There is an option to extend until 2027. So
I did see that.
They're in discussions right now, supposedly.
So hopefully it goes a little further. I kind of would like to be able to see it someday because I think it'd be a great race to go see. I think it'd be a lot of fun. But hopefully they extend it. If not, I heard that there was a little bit less fan experience. So maybe it'll be good. Maybe it won't. We'll never know.
Maybe drop the ticket prices.
Yeah, that'd be a nice way to go about it. I wouldn't mind them doing that. That'd be kind of nice. But it is what it is. I do think that there was some improvements that could be made. Obviously officiating wise. I know Hendrick Motorsports had a horrible day, and obviously, SVG is just dominating the road courses. Which he dominated the Xfinity race and then dominated the Cup race. So
let me throw something out here real quick, Nathan.
Okay.
I just noticed it on my phone as well. If anyone is having any live video issues through Facebook or watching the show through Facebook, you can go to YouTube and find us as well. It's at Switching Grooves on YouTube. That's our channel. You'll see our logo. You'll see our videos. So please don't forget to go over that way and subscribe to our channel there. And I'm pretty close to just doing away with broadcasting on Facebook and just strictly broadcasting on YouTube and sharing to Facebook. So people could click it and it'll take them over to YouTube. But that's neither here nor there right now. So anyway, sorry about that. But I just wanted to
You're good. I was trying to pull it up on my end too. So it is working now. So we're good. Or at least on my YouTube it is. But yeah, I'm kind of looking forward to Sonoma because Hendrick really had a crappy day. Other than the Alex Bowman and Bubba Wallace battle, that was pretty entertaining. But I mean, there wasn't really a whole lot to really, look forward to. You kind of knew SVG was going to dominate, but I don't know. I kind of saw it coming. After he dominated the Xfinity race, you knew he was going to do good in the race. As long as he didn't get dive bombed and taken out in the rain, he kind of had his chance to win the race and be done with it. I will say, and I saw clips of this, the NASCAR testing the new electric cars, And I did notice this, and I was sitting at Lernerville watching some of these uh, clips of it. I noticed there's no Toyota. I saw a Chevy EV car and a Ford EV car, but I noticed there was no Toyota and there was no Dodge one. But to my surprise, there is what appeared to be a Honda EV. Now, does that mean we're getting, Toyota drivers are going to have to transfer to Honda? Is there going to be only 4 makes in NASCAR instead of these supposed 5? Um, who's to tell? I'm hoping we don't get EV, and I'm hoping that it becomes its own little series, and then it eventually phases out because I don't think EV is going to last very long. But with the supposedly in IndyCar, Honda's contract runs out. Does that mean they're going to try to flip the script and move over to NASCAR? Because there is no really Honda, you know, cars right now. The EVs maybe, but what are they going to run, a Civic? Going to put Spooner engines in them like we're talking Fast and Furious? I mean, it's kind of dumb to me. But at the same time, I'm kind of curious what they're going to do with this. If we're going to have 5 manufacturers, I saw at least 2 of them that we know, but we're missing Toyota and Dodge, or Ram at least in this aspect. So, we've got 3 makes currently. We've got 3 makes in testing for the EV series. I'm curious, you know, when to reveal these cars, if they're going to reveal them, because it has to be towards the end of the year. So, because 2026 is when the contract runs up. So at least next year we're safe, I think. But I am kind of curious on what they're going to do with those. Another fun note that I noticed, and I don't know how many people here actually follow, the gaming side of NASCAR, but NASCAR was in talks with the drivers, and some of them were doing testing for the new game. I will say the graphics, from what I've seen, are pretty good looking, and they've actually had some really positive, overwhelming good reviews from the drivers who have played this game. There's reports that there's going to be some sort of bigger announcement later on in August. Like, I believe it was like later August. There was reports of possibly Darlington weekend, which is a little earlier than they're saying. So I'm thinking late September, maybe around Bristol, maybe around New Hampshire weekend, the second round of the playoffs, or I believe it's the first round actually. But I'm definitely looking forward to this new game. I will try to do some more research on it for the next episode. But I'm definitely looking forward to the new NASCAR game. There is a lot of people who deserve a good NASCAR game, and there hasn't been one in at least 2 years released. So hopefully this will be a good refresh for the NASCAR gaming industry, and hopefully maybe this will get some more fans involved. They'll play the game and then they'll want to come see the actual racing online because it's produced by iRacing. So hopefully the good graphics and the good, gameplay will produce more race fans, I would hope, because we need them at this point.
Yeah, I was
So
just taking care of some of the Facebook issues that we were having. So
you're good. Hopefully there won't be any officiating issues in this new game. Hopefully there won't be a delay on caution flags.
it would be kind of interesting to see Chicago street race in a video game.
Honestly, I think it'd be great. I think at one point they had a track like that. I think it was the New York track. They had like one of the old fantasy games. I'll have to go back and look. But there was a fantasy track that reminds me a lot of Chicago, but I don't know how accurate it is to the current configuration. But I do remember something about that in one of the older NASCAR games. I thought it was labeled as New York, but I don't really know.
Well, they're still talking to San Diego, I believe, too.
I've kind of seen that course. I don't know how I feel about that. I guess I would like to see a different street course if they get rid of Chicago. At the same time, I don't really feel that San Diego would be as good of racing as Chicago is. But to be fair, It would probably be because nobody else has been to Chicago or to San Diego yet, and then that'll obviously be an SVG win. So I don't really know how to feel on it, but I do think that seeing the course of San Diego's and seeing the current Chicago Street course, I kind of like the configuration of Chicago over San Diego's. It just feels like produces a little bit better racing to me. But that's just me.
Yeah,
I feel. I mean, the
it
tracks
can.
that I would love to see, I'd love to see them put series specific tracks, because with them including the ARCA series, that means we get at least one dirt race, I believe, and you get a few other NASCAR, like actual NASCAR tracks. But that also gives you the smaller tracks. You've got the bull ring at Las Vegas that the Cup Series doesn't race at, the Xfinity doesn't race at, and the Truck Series doesn't race at. But ARCA would race there, and I believe that either is currently dirt or was dirt. And I remember that was a pretty good race. I know there's a bunch of different ARCA races that I think would be absolutely amazing to have. I'm hoping that it stays good and they get track specifics, but I also kind of would like to see what it's like if they make them all available, so then you could put the NASCAR Cup, the next gen cars on a put them at not Lime Rock, the one in Connecticut, or I think it's right, whatever the
Mm,
one the Truck Series just raced at. I can't think what it is off the top of my head.
I can't either.
But either way, I would love to see them. Even with the Xfinity Series just running at Rockingham, that could be all it takes to put the Cup Series in the game at Rockingham, and then people could test it, and that would be a good way to see. Hey, Cup Series might run pretty good at Rockingham. Maybe we'll schedule them a race next year. Put it out there early enough, put it all across different platforms of racing. You might get a good race out of there, and then give the fans what they want. I think it could go really well, but you never know. I was hearing there's at least 90 different teams I've heard that are in the game. I believe that number is correct. Don't
That's
quote me
crazy.
on that. But that is a lot of teams in the game. I mean, there's 36 teams in the Cup Series. There's probably 30-ish in the Xfinity Series, and you've got probably 30 in the Truck Series, plus the ARCA Series. So you have to be well over 100 teams involved in this game. At the time, it was only 90. So you wonder how many teams are actually still in contracts. That number may have gone up. We may have almost 150 teams when this is all said and done, which would be
Never
amazing.
know.
I would love to think that this game could be the biggest, source of income for these race teams that don't really have a whole lot of budget. I mean, think of these ARCA teams. They run part time. All of a sudden, they're going to get funding just from people playing as their driver in the game. I think that will be great to have. And hopefully it produces a little bit better, gaming experience, because us as gamers deserve a little bit better out of NASCAR gaming. They used to be great, and lately they're just, for lack of better terms, trash.
No, they haven't been very good lately.
But that's my 2 cents for NASCAR this week. I didn't really have a whole lot other than the shenanigans.
No, it's just ridiculous to see them leave a driver sit like that
I
after
mean,
that hard of a hit. I mean, it's not like he just spun out and he's sitting there waiting for everybody to go by.
well,
He absolutely ate that wall. I don't care if it was a tire wall or not.
and
That
this will
thing.
kind of specify the difference between what they did and what they needed to do. Earlier on in the race, Carson Hocevar hit the wall extremely hard, enough to even move the wall, which tells you that was a hard hit. He came back across the track and ended up spinning out and causing a red flag. That's how fast they're going at this track. I mean, it ended a lot of people's days just with that contact. That one immediately drew a yellow flag. So why didn't the one where he's nose deep into the wall, hit it at a way higher rate of speed with way more violent impact, did they have to wait to throw a yellow? he's sitting in a more dangerous spot, I feel, than Carson Hocevar would have ended up had there been nobody coming. I mean, people didn't have time to stop. You can have time to stop, but then not be able to stop, and then you're, kind of up a creek where you're just hang on and brace yourself type of thing. That's not any better.
Yeah, it is ridiculous. It's as bad as Taylor Farling using his car to try to, actually hit somebody head on, going backwards around the racetrack. That was some, just like Ross Chastain video game stuff. That was bull. You don't do that crap. You could
You
really
can do
hurt or kill
you can do the
somebody.
wall or the nose in a video game. You don't do that in
And
real life. I agree with that.
I don't have any respect for guys that do such stunts like that.
The Ross Chastain thing was
Whatsoever.
cool, but yes, I understand the safety issues. Had he hit that gate, it would have been catastrophic. It looked cool. It's probably one of the most memorable things people remember, but it is a very big safety issue, and I understand why they put the rule in play.
But I'm glad to see Port Royal doing what they're doing, and hey, good job for them.
Yes. One more note before I, wrap my end up. With SVG having 2 wins in the Cup Series now, he now essentially has locked himself into the playoffs where he no longer has to worry about being eliminated because all these 1-win drivers are now below him. Last time I checked, he is sitting 5th in playoff standings right now, which to me is absolutely insane because if I'm not mistaken, the first 2 rounds of the playoffs have at least one road course in them. We have, I believe, first round has Watkins Glen, and the second round has the Roval. If it plays out correctly, we could see SVG in the round of 8, which is absolutely mind-boggling to me because he's really not that good on ovals, but he's darn good on road courses. And this could be, a Cinderella story that goes way deeper than I think anybody realizes. And it could be insane. If he gets through Talladega, he might surprise a lot of people. We have a, wild card entering into the Final Four by some miraculous means.
I guess we'll have to wait and find out, huh?
Oh, I know. It's crazy. I got to get my popcorn out.
So, well, Nathan, I think that's going to do it.
That's all I got for this week.
Anything else that you just need to add real quick?
I know. I had a lot of those. I think I'm good
that's
for
all
now.
right. Well, that wraps up this action-packed episode of Switching Grooves. And from last lap thrillers in Ohio to massive money on the line with the Outlaws and a clear message about safety from Port Royal, it's never dull on the dirt nor in NASCAR. We'll see you next time as the summer of money heats up even more and the road to the King's Royal hits high gear. Until then, Nathan. Until next time.
I'm Nathan Johns.
And I'm Russ Fitz. Ahead, race hard.
Stay safe.
And we'll see you there. Good night,
Bye,
everyone.